How rich and powerful is Lord Evelyn Rothschild? Historically, the Rothschild family wealth was hidden in underground vaults. The Rothschilds' secret financial records were never audited and never accounted for. Their family-commissioned biographies give the illusion that their family fortune has dwindled, but researchers estimate their wealth at close to $500 trillion, more than half the wealth of the entire world. Besides their many castles, palace mansions, wineries, racehorses, and exotic resorts, the Rothschilds bought Reuters in the 1800s. Reuters then bought the Associated Press, which selects and delivers the same news stories to the entire world, day after day. They have controlling interest in 3 major television networks and easily avoid media attention since they own it. Until recently, they owned and operated England's Royal Mint and continue to be the gold agent for the Bank of England, which they also direct. They control the LBMA, London Bullion Market Association, where 30 to 42 million ounces of gold worth over $11 billion are traded daily. The Rothschilds earn millions weekly just on transaction fees alone. They also fix the world price of gold on a daily basis and profit from its ups and downs. Over the centuries, the Rothschilds have amassed trillions of dollars worth of gold bullion in their subterranean vaults and have cornered the world's gold supply. They own controlling interest in the world's largest oil company, Royal Dutch Shell. They operate phony charities and offshore banking services where the wealth of the black nobility and the Vatican is hidden in secret accounts at Rothschild Swiss banks, trusts, and holding companies. Although Evelyn Rothschild looks like a harmless gray-haired old man, make no mistake about it, Rothschild and his ancestors have handpicked presidents, crashed stock markets, bankrupted nations, orchestrated wars, and sponsored the mass murder and impoverishment of millions. The wealth hoarded by this one family alone could feed, clothe, and shelter every human being on earth.
Shalom, it's your brother Yonathan, right? First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, B'chahak-wadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders, great millstone. I want to say shalom to all the brothers, and of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity, all right? May the blessing of election be upon your house. Now, I ran that clip just to give you a little background of who the real enemy is for those who are new, what we're really up against. As the scriptures say, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. And I think in the Geneva Bible, it says against the worldly governors, the people who have true control over the governments, media, the money, the resources. Okay? Job 9:24 tells you that the earth was given into the hand of the wicked, and these people indeed, have the earth in the palm of their hand. There were 2 people in the scriptures who were prophesied to have worldwide dominion, dominate the earth, and that was Jacob and Esau. Right now we're in Esau's rule, which will be the last rule before the kingdom of heaven is established, pursuant to 2 Ezra 6 and 9. Okay? But these people, when it boils down to the food you eat, when it boils down to the media you consume, especially, media that has global recognition or national recognition. A lot of our videos, people, the Lord, allowed you to see them, but these are going to be cut off. Like my lesson yesterday, I talked about, man, this ministry has an expiration date. But a lot of our videos and things that we put out is going to be suppressed. Okay? So that's why you'll see these people just pop up and they'll take our talking points, which come from the scriptures, which come from the Most High, and they'll try to tailor it to the world. And they're in Esau's pocket. He'll allow them to have particular platforms because they'll give you pinches of truth, but then at the end of the day they still stand with the agenda that the wicked are forwarding. So if you've come across the prophets which everybody's going to have the opportunity to come across the prophets. If you come across the prophets and it resonates with your spirit, man, soak in as much as you can. There was a quote from Meyer Amschel Bauer, Rothschild. Their original name was Bauer, but they changed their name to Rothschild, which means red shield, okay? Red shield, the red man, all right? But the quote went like this. It says, "Let me issue and control a nation's money, and I care not who writes its laws." Okay? So, the figureheads, the presidents, the prime ministers that you see, these aren't the people that are actually in control of anything. They take orders. Okay? The people that are in control are not names that you necessarily know. Even the Rothschilds family, there are people that we don't necessarily know their names, that may be even higher than them. But we know the elites of Edom are the ones that are forwarding this evil in the earth. Okay? But you talk about the Rothschilds family and families like them. These are the elites of the nation of Edom. These are the big, the big fish, so to speak. These are the ones that are going to be taken out of the bunkers and be the first generation of captives in the kingdom of heaven. Now, back to the topic of them controlling the money. All right? This banking dynasty, they loan countries money at amounts of interest that you can't pay back. And then they keep taking out the loans. So these nations, particularly America, they're in the pocket. So America doesn't stand for what it originally stood for when it became a nation. Okay? It stands for the agenda of the people with the little hats on their head, the small hats. They're a glorified bodyguard for Amalek, which is who the people in the Holy Land actually are. So there's no hope for America returning to any former state that it was in. Okay, for those who have a hope in this place. America has an expiration date as well, and it's soon come. And that expiration date on America and all these, nations and this whole system that the elites have set up, it has to fall for the kingdom of heaven to be established. So if you're someone who truly believes in the Lord, all right, your hope is that this world crumbles so that a righteous one could be established on the earth. Because like it says in the book of Matthew, if this man was left to rule, no flesh would be saved. Okay, but I got 2 points I want to bring. I want to just go into that debt that this devil rules by, how it's mentioned in the scriptures, and the fact that we should be longing for this place to circle the drain. All right, so this is Habakkuk 2 and verse, I'll just start at 4, but the point I want is going to be down there in verse 6. It says, "Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him." So this man is inherently wicked and evil. The Lord created him that way. In every movie, you have to cast an antagonist, a bad guy. So Esau Edom is the Lord's bad guy in his movie, and the bad guy is a tool for the director to refine the protagonist, the main character, the good guys. All right? He's a tool, the antagonist is a tool to bring out the best of the protagonist. And right now, the conditions that this devil has created, it forces the elect of the nation of Israel. Yahushua did it first. He overcame this man. He overcame death. He overcame the flesh. It forces the elect of the nation of Israel to conquer their flesh and to lean upon the Most High and the Son. Okay? Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yet also because he transgressed by wine, the philosophy that he pushes, not the literal wine that you drink. Remember, the scriptures were written in the Hebrew, in the Old Testament, in the New Testament, the Greek, in Latin, some places. And those are the major languages spoke when these things were written down, all right? It says transgressive by wine. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. And every part of the earth, this devil has a U.S. embassy or a base. You understand? Which is why when you go to other countries, a lot of the people that have a pulse on what's going on, they have a great disdain for America. Because when America has all these different bases over there, they're not there to help the people. They're there to keep them in line. Okay? If one of these nations step out of line, doesn't go along with whatever the agreement is, they're there to put a foot in the ass. So you have media, you have, they're forwarding this Americanized way of life, this Americanized way of thinking on all the people of the earth. A lot of nations, the citizens of those nations, they're not with that, but they got to go along to get along. You want to do trade, you want to do business, you want your economy to flourish, you got to get in bed with the way America does things. Okay? So all the nations even are looking for a plan B, an exit route, just in case this relationship doesn't pan out. That's written in Obadiah. And a lot of the information that I'm bringing up is abbreviated. You should be inspired to go look into these things yourself and get a more thorough understanding, to know when you look at media, when you look at the news, you could kind of decipher between the lies, because you know what the scriptures say is going on. And that's the ultimate way, which is the point of this lesson. The ultimate way to decipher between a lie and the truth is to filter things through what the Word of God says. You can't trust these people. You can't trust what you see on TV. You can't trust what you read. You can't even trust what you're seeing nowadays with the technology they have. You got to trust what the Lord is showing you through the Spirit. So you got to see things with your spiritual eye. You got to know the prophecies. You got to know what the Lord says going down. You got to know what the Lord said the agenda is of these people. And the Lord tells us what their motivations are. They want the blessing back. They want complete control and dominion over the earth and the things in it, which includes the people. They want an everlasting kingdom, which is what we're promised. Okay? That's their motivations. They want the immortality that comes with that rulership. They want all those things that we're going to be given day one. That's their motivations. So when you see them doing things, it's always a play to get closer to that position. All right, so back to Habakkuk 2:5. It says, yet also, because he transgresseth by wine. Again, that's the philosophies, the way that he pushes, that has all the world drunk. And when you go to Isaiah 29, let me see here. And I believe about verse 10. Okay, yeah. Isaiah 29 and 9. Okay, it says, stay yourselves and wonder, cry ye out, cry, they are drunken, but not with wine. Our people, they're full of the philosophies that are pushed of this world. And the Lord has allowed us to be in that spirit of deep sleep. He's allowed us to be in this spiritually dead state. Okay, he allowed us to become the dry bones in Ezekiel 37. Because of our disobedience, because we were disenchanted by the righteous way. Isaiah 29:9 again, stay yourselves and wonder, cry ye out and cry, they are drunken but not with wine, they stagger but not with strong drink. For the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and have closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers, the seers, hath he covered. But now we're in the time of Daniel 12:4. We're in the time at the end, where knowledge is being increased and we've woken back up to our heritage. A portion of us are no longer dry bones. Okay? So the seers are calling out what's going on in the earth to warn the elect of the nation of Israel so that they might be delivered. Let's go back to Habakkuk 2 and verse 5. It says, yea, also because they transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. So we talked about how he's everywhere. He's in every part of the world you go. You could be in Zambia, and you go to get a drink at a hut. God damn it, Esau there. Hey, buddy, you should try the He's there. This nigga's everywhere, forwarding his way, polluting the earth. He's a virus. All right, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Verse 6, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him? And let's check it out in the NLT here on the right. It says, but soon their captains will taunt them. They will mock them, saying, what sorrows await you thieves? And that's what the prophets are saying now. But even the nations are going to be in this spirit when they see Esau's downfall, man. A lot of people want to see this man fall. He screwed over many people. Again, he's trapped many nations into debt, into having to serve him. So even the nations that are in cahoots with him, in a way, they're captives too. But the chief captive, all right, will be the Israelites, and that's who all the nations are confederate against. Okay, just to distinguish that we're not in the same boat with the other nations. They're going into slavery too. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, saying, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And the NLT on the right, it says extortion, but the word there is debt. Okay. All right. Weight of pleasures, heavy debts. See that? Weight of pledges, heavy debts. Let's look at that root word. Take a pledge for a debt. Okay. Borrow. Yeah, man. To lend. Yep. There it goes. This is the importance of looking up words so you get the full understanding of what's actually being said in the scriptures. Many camps don't really going into the original tongues to get the full understanding, which is why they have wayward breakdowns. And it's a tool also so that the wicked leaders are able to spin a narrative on their congregation and bamboozle them. And what they're doing ultimately is they're sending their congregation out into this spiritual battle with a dull sword. Back in the Roman Empire, when they offer gladiator, they would send them into battle with a sword that couldn't cut anything. So with faulty weaponry, with faulty shields, so that they were doomed to perish. And that's what many of the leaders of the so-called Israelite community, which is a lot of people who know the Israelites and are not being one. Okay, it's a difference between being an Israelite by blood and you being one in spirit. Okay, they're not all Israel which are of Israel. There's a lot of people who are Israelites, sure, but there are not a lot of people who are walking as a prince of the power, who are upholding the reputation of the Lord. All right. So again, if you truly believe in the Lord and you're about what he's about, right? You're looking forward to the downfall of this devil and his kingdom so that the righteous one can be established. Let's go get that in 2 Peter. 2 Peter 3:11. It says, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, all right? This world, this way of thinking, this moral compass that people have, the infrastructure, this rulership is going to be dissolved. That's promised to us. What manner of persons ought you to be in all holy conversation and godliness? What should you be spending your time doing, thinking about? What principles should you uphold? Right? Verse 12, looking forward and hasting unto the coming of the day of God. One of the elders in the Chicago camp, Salaki, I forget the elder's name, but it was a camp day, and one of these Mormons walked by the camp. You know, he asked the guy, he said, oh, so you're about the Lord and Savior? He was like, yeah. He said, well, do you want him to come back tonight and bring the fire? He worded it like that. And the guy, the I forget, what was it? Is it the Mormon or the people with the white t-shirts that come to your door? I forget, the 7 day. I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, the guy was like, I don't know if I want him to come back tonight. He said, why not? Why would you not want the Lord to dismantle this kingdom and set up a righteous one? You need to ask yourself that question. And the answer should be like yesterday. If you're truly about the Lord and you love righteousness, you're going to be grieved in the spirit with the things that are going on here. And if you're not grieved in the spirit, it's because you haven't been paying attention about the evils that have been going on here. You haven't been reading enough to see that the world is very perverse as to what the Lord requires. You haven't done enough to really understand the situation and the environment that you're in. All right, 2 Peter 3:12 again. Looking forward and hasting unto the coming of the day of God, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. That is the spirit that you ought to be in if you're seeking salvation. So, got to go into the plantation. Man, Abaratazah, the lessons that I find. Want to give all praises once more to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Quadash, double honest apostles, and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to all the brothers, and of course the few sisters pursuing this truth in sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your house. Shalom.